This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. These are the top stories we're tracking. Guyana's oil boosts Hess second quarter earnings to 667 million US dollars. Bank of Guyana and Insurance Association must come clean on oil spill coverage talks. Former EPA head accuses government of deliberately keeping documents from citizens. As sugar shortage bites, Kaieteur reduces quota of major distributors. Bandit shot dead during home invasion. And Shadow Oil and Gas Minister David Patterson says we will not give up the fight for full liability coverage. Exxon are already on to 2 more deepwater oil wells. 5 contractors vying to build sugar package plant at Albion, and Chinese contractors dominate bids to upgrade Grove to Tamari Highway. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Can't believe all this money for me. I got to get the CASH. That's the code for the vault, so let's play. Top up with the toes and then the next day you could be a millionaire. Did you sell?
More than 15 million to grab this summer. Top up with $1,000 or more to collect the letters to spell CASH for a chance to catch millions in the Digicel's cash vault. Top up today.
Did you sell?
And now for the news in detail. Hess Corporation on Wednesday reported that it achieved a net income of $667 million US dollars in the second quarter of 2022, compared with a net loss of $73 million US dollars in the second quarter of 2021. The corporation said the improvement in after-tax earnings compared with the prior year quarter adjusted result was primarily due to higher realized selling prices in the second quarter of 2022. Increased production at its operations in Guyana also contributed to its sizable net profits. Hess and its co-venture partners currently have 4 sanctioned developments in the Stabroek Block. The Liza Phase 1 development, which began production in December 2019, reached its new production capacity of more than 140,000 gross barrels of oil per day in the second quarter of 2022, following production optimization work. And the former head of the EPA, Dr. Vincent Adams, believes that the government of Guyana is deliberately keeping documents supporting better insurance coverage from ExxonMobil out of the public's domain, and has thus called on involved parties to confirm their participation at meetings in this regard under the previous administration. Adams is urging the Bank of Guyana and the Insurance Association of Guyana, participants who engaged in discussions towards securing oil spill liability coverage for Guyana, to come forward and speak up. The former EPA head was again responding to the government's claims that no information currently exists within its relevant agencies to show that efforts were in the making to have ExxonMobil and its partners provide a collective $2.5 billion US dollar liability sum that ensured better protection against any possible oil spill at the Stabroek Block. And in other news, a major local distributor is refuting the claims made by Kaieteur that there is no shortage of the commodity. This comes amidst concerns raised by businesses and consumers alike, who have been complaining bitterly about the shortage of the sweetener, while Kaieteur continues to maintain there is a shortage in the bulk only of packaged sugar. However, the frustrated businessman said that this is absolutely not the case, saying that he has been buying sugar directly from Kaieteur for over 30 years, but this is the first time he has been unable to meet his quota. The distributor explained that he usually purchases a weekly order from the sugar factory, but he has been put on a waiting list for 6 weeks. He then added that they give him only 25% of his order. The businessman noted too that the Sugar Corporation has been meeting with distributors and telling them that only certain categories of people will be giving preferential treatment. And just before we head to a short commercial break, let's tell you that an alleged home invasion on Wednesday at Lagrange, West Bank, Demerara ended deadly for a bandit after he was reportedly shot dead by the owner. Police identified him as Leron Ford. He was killed around 1:30. According to police, Ford and an accomplice had reportedly invaded the apartment of a businessman, 34-year-old Anil Singh, and his wife, 32-year-old Christina Singh, with a crowbar and a cutlass. Christina alleged that the man had begged her husband to kill him during the invasion. Investigators were told that as the suspects came charging into the bedroom with a crowbar and cutlass, her husband shot Ford to the leg. Ford reportedly fell and his accomplice aborted the mission and ran away. Christina claimed that it was at this point that the injured bandit reportedly begged her husband to kill him. The woman further alleged that her husband refused to comply and he ended up in a scuffle with the suspect. The time is now 12 hours 8 in Guyana. We'll take a short break and return with your news.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with your news. The opposition's motion on full liability coverage for oil spills may have been defeated in the National Assembly, but the fight will not end there. This is the pledge of Shadow Oil and Gas Minister David Patterson, who had tabled the motion in Parliament since February 16th of this year, seeking to not only include full liability coverage in the event of an oil spill, but also order a study on the possible ill effects that can be caused by such a disaster. In addition to pushing for oil spill coverage from the opposition end, Patterson pointed out that it was very important for civil society bodies to also play a role. To this end, he encouraged greater activism on their part. Importantly, he noted that with 2 new oil finds in the Stabroek Block offshore Guyana, he is confident that the PPP government would continue to approve more projects, all without proper safeguards in place. Meanwhile, after announcing 2 more major discoveries in the Stabroek Block on Tuesday, ExxonMobil and its partners are on to another 2 exploration wells with high hopes for similar success. Next up in the queue are Yarrow and Banjo. According to Hess Corporation during its earnings call for the 2022 second quarter, the Yarrow 1 well will test stacked upper Campanian targets, up dip of discoveries at Whiptail and Tilapia. Meanwhile, during the opening of tenders on Tuesday, 5 bids were received for the construction of a packaging plant at the Albion Estate in Berbice. The project, which is being undertaken by Gaisuco, is estimated to cost $1.4 billion. As reported on, the government's plan is to relocate the packaging facility from Enmore on the east coast of Demerara to Albion. And 3 out of the 5 bidders that responded to the Ministry of Public Works invitation for pre-qualification for the Grove to Tamari Road upgrade project are Chinese-owned companies. In upgrading the East Bank Highway, the government had approached the Inter-American Development Bank for a $100 million loan to execute the works. Meanwhile, amid growing concerns about this country's ballooning external debts, President Irfan Ali on Wednesday signed a memorandum of understanding with Exim Bank for $2 billion, targeting potential funding for infrastructure, renewable energy, and other areas. And the country's head of state, who is on tour of the United States, hailed the potential loan as a signal of the U.S. commitment not only to Guyana but CARICOM. The head of state made this assertion following the signing of the agreement, which he dubbed as historic. We reported last month that the Bank of Guyana report documenting the country's performance in the first 3 months of this year has found that the state now owes an additional $124.4 million in debt, bringing the total to $3.2 billion. And as usual, we close things off by turning the page of today's Kaieteur News to page 7, dedicated to being blunt. Parliament has reached its nadir. Speaker of the National Assembly, Manzoor Nadir, has accused has been accused on numerous occasions of being a biased representative of the people, supporting and defending only the government side of the House on several matters. The thing is, one does not need to investigate whether or not this is true. Anyone tuning into the sitting of the day's proceedings would confirm the claims made by the opposition. It is truly a disappointment to see how the opposition, which represents about 50% of the population, is being cast aside as the nation's highest decision-making forum. The Speaker could at least try to be impartial, but he continues to show allegiance to the PPPC. We implore Mr. Nadir to, upon the reopening of Parliament in October, turn over a new leaf, one that shows true patriotism. If this is too much to ask, he may do himself and this nation a favor by simply not returning. And that wraps things up for today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465